Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to our virtual twist of our 1881 series, Uncorked, our virtual wine experience. We're excited to join you in your homes this evening and introduce you to a wonderful family that owns and operates the beautiful Paradiso Vineyard in Wallingford, Connecticut. But before we jump into today's session, just a couple of housekeeping items as we always do. First, I'm joined by my fantastic colleague, Kristen Luger, our coordinator for alumni relations. Kristen's going to be manning all the back end, the chat, and assisting if you have any technical challenges to the best of her ability. So if you do need anything, you can find her listed and you can send her a direct message if you have any challenges tonight. Second, we want to send out a great big welcome to the various UConn Foundation board members who are joining us on this call tonight. Welcome. We hope you enjoy yourself tonight, and thanks for spending some time. Next, the chat is open, so feel free to jump in, meet some Huskies, maybe share your favorite wine style. Perhaps if you've ever visited Paradise Hills, some of your experience and hopefully some of the love of the wine that you might have experienced with them. And definitely let us know where you're logging in from. We know that folks tend to log in all over the country. We know because of the vineyard here in Connecticut, we'll see a good chunk here, but if you're logging in from someplace special, we want to know where that is. So feel free to drop that in the chat as well. And in regards to questions, we know that when we're tasting wines, we all have different things that pop in our heads. We think about different flavor profiles, et cetera. So if there are questions or anything that come up that you want to ask our fantastic vineyard owners tonight, feel free to drop that into the question and answer section right on your toolbar. It should be located to the left-hand side on the bottom. Now, let's jump right in. To get us started, we'll be getting into our tasting in just a bit, but we realize some of you are incredibly eager to crack open one of those bottles of wine and get started. So if you are interested in doing that, just know we will be doing a traditional tasting, starting with our whites and heading to our reds, so our sweetest to our darkest. So Margaret, I know we talked about this. Why don't you tell us what order we can get into? So if our friends are interested in cracking something open, they know which order to go in.
Sure. Hi, everybody. I'm so excited to be here. We're going to start with our estate-grown Chardonnay, and then we're going to go to the Vino Bianco del Paradiso, followed by our Marquette, and then our limited edition Merlot. Perfect.
So depending on where your flavor profiles go and what you want to test, I mean, if you're planning on opening them all, just like I already have, feel free to crack them open and get started without us, but we will get into a more traditional tasting as the night goes on. But we want to learn a little bit more about our vineyard owners here, so we want to get started with a couple of questions and answers for them. So to get the audience a little bit more information and learn a little bit more about you both, Margaret, if we can start with you, welcome, and thank you so much for you and Marcelo for joining us tonight. What we are curious about at this point is we want to know, how does a UConn grad end up opening a vineyard, and is this what you had in mind?
So, yeah, I grew up around wine, and when I went to UConn, I had my full vision into immersing right into this type of field. So I didn't apply to too many places, but UConn was my top pick, which I was super excited to stay in state, to stay close to family because we're super tight and close. But yeah, we're totally immersed into the business and so happy that we're doing it. So
awesome. So in your experiences, I know that when you and I connected in some of our prep work here, was there anything growing up that kind of you just knew wine was a thing? I mean, I know you talked about immersing, but what about wine for your family has been so special for you?
It brings the family together. It's just like a community type of, my family's Italian. This is my husband, Marcelo Mena. He's actually from Chile, so he's Chilean. And wine, it just brings us together, you know, and I always saw, you know, on the table when I was a little girl, you know, my parents probably definitely watered down the wine. Maybe there was like a little splash of wine with a bunch of water in it, you know, and then they always like gave us like, you know, water and wine glasses and just kind of involved us in the whole culture and the experience of family and wine. So
that's awesome. Yeah, no, I mean, French Canadian background, so very similar. You know, we have a lot of those watered down experiences. You know, that I can remember as well, going through the different holidays and whatnot. So no, I can resonate with that really well. Getting back into a little bit of your UConn experience, was there anything from the ag school that really helped you prepare yourself for getting into the role that you're holding now with the vineyard at this point? Was it, more about winemaking or grape production or tending to the vines, the farming aspect, or even just running the business for that?
It gave me a really amazing background to prepare myself to kind of enter this field. Gave me a great background of botany, horticulture. I even took some turf grass management classes. I might have been the only girl in that. But I took some of those, which helps you also balance, any type of competing factors that might try to get those nutrients away from the grapes versus, competing plants that might get into competition for nutrients. So it did give me a really great base knowledge of plants, and there wasn't too many grape specific classes, but I was able to kind of study abroad and immerse myself in a little bit more things on that respect, but it gave me a fabulous background knowledge. And then also I did take some wildlife biology classes that I loved, because, you are on a farm and you have to combat all, vectors that might come into favor. Sure. So I really enjoyed studying about wildlife biology and the impact on the land as well. And also a couple things that did influence me with the construction of the building was with our trying to be as eco-green and sustainable as possible here at Paradise.
So tell me a little bit more about that. And obviously I'm going to come back. I want to circle back to your wildlife aspect there and whatnot. But so you just hit on a note I wanted us to talk about tonight. So talk a little bit about what you've taken into consideration with the construction of the building and your production. I know that you and Marcelo both are passionate about green technology and the like. Yeah.
So, well, my amazing husband here, he helped build the building from the ground up with my family. So, which is pretty amazing. It took us several years. How many?
Well, it took us a long time. Hello, by the way. My background in wine is a little bit different because I came into the picture of the Ruggiero family when I met Margaret. Because I came to this country when I was 16, and by the time I was 19, I met Margaret. And by the year after, I was already working in the farm. But in the meantime, I was doing construction, and I had a little business going on for myself. And that's how everything started turning into building this building and getting everything set. But yeah, everything I learned and all the knowledge I took from the farming and winemaking just came from this place, reading books, go to seminars, and listen to people, experience, and kind of self-taught. And obviously you get it from the old man, my father-in-law, uncle. I mean, at this point, they just sit back and they're drinking the wine. But yeah, I learned a lot from them and other people's experience.
And so like all the trees on our property that we had to take down, we did repurpose and reuse. So in our entranceway, can't see it now, it's really dark out.
Right here where these tanks are, this was a forest.
Okay.
We cut about 300 trees, I think, the year before we started building it. So we had to clear all the woods before they came and dig up the foundation and all that. So it was a long process. Definitely a lot of sweat and family involved. Everybody helped a little bit.
Very nice.
And then we reused the wood in our entrance.
Some of the cedar trees, we use it for the railings and stuff like that.
Very nice. Yeah, no, that's great. Now I know that in order to heat the building as well, you have a pretty interesting piece of technology as well. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we have our geothermal, we're geothermal 100% heating and cooling. So we don't use any oil on the property.
Wow.
In regards to heating this facility or cooling it, which was a big impact when I took an environmental class at UConn, and that really stemmed, the purpose of us doing it. My parents never really had the plan to do it, but then after I took this course, I was kind of hooked on this green technology, and I wanted a LEED approved building like UConn has, but we ended up being able to do the geothermal heating and cooling, which we've been really, really happy with. So,
That's awesome. That's awesome.
yeah.
Now, Marcelo, you kind of stole my thunder by letting us know when you kind of entered the picture. But talk to us a little bit about that experience and when you met Margaret's family. And for those of you that just joined, we're talking with Margaret Ruggiero as well as Marcelo Mena, owners and winemakers at Paradiso Vineyard. You talked a little bit about when you entered the picture, Marcelo. So tell us a little bit about it. Who wooed who? Was it Margaret who found you? Was it you who found Margaret? How did this all came to be?
So it's a funny story because Margaret used to work for my brother's ex-wife. So I introduced my brother to his ex-wife.
Okay.
And they used to guard together in this Hamden pool, local pool.
Lifeguarding.
So my brother
I saved his life.
No. My brother told me, oh, there's a cute girl there who works with Julie, was my brother's ex-wife, and you should go meet her. So on my birthday, I think that day, my birthday, I went down to the pool because they used to work at night for like adult swimming. We just met and changed phone numbers, and we went out that weekend. And that's it.
And it's been 18 years.
18 years. And I'm going to ask this question now. How many kids?
We have two boys and one on the way.
So you're not drinking wine with us tonight? Congratulations.
No,
Congratulations.
There we go. I'm 10 days out.
10 days out. So folks, if you wanted to know why we picked today, this is why. This is why this event is happening today.
Yes.
Well, congratulations. I hope you're enjoying your glass of sparkling Pellegrino, as you told me earlier.
You can
soon enough.
My husband's going to drink tonight for me.
Yes.
For those of us that have had kids, as dads, I can say that we are happy to take that burden for you. And as I'm sure Marcelo has no issues with that as well for you tonight. So
Yes,
I'm happy to see he's taking one for the team.
See, I already started.
There you go.
3 boys, 3 hardworking boys on the farm here. So.
And what are their ages?
Say it again.
What are their ages?
5, 3.5. And this one's
negative 10 days. Got
it. Hopefully March 18th to the day. So day after St. Patty's, unless he comes early.
Well, I think given that you're a family that works in the liquor industry, having a kid born on St. Patrick's Day probably is not the worst thing in the world.
Right?
I think that day we'll make some green wine.
Yes, we're going to be having green wine here on St. Patty's for sure.
Maybe it's a good luck charm. You can look at it that way, right? Good luck for the business and everything else.
Exactly.
So Marcelo, are you a UConn alum or where did you get your are you a UConn alum?
No, I went to Southern actually.
Okay. All right. And what did you study at Southern?
It's funny because I started doing human performance and I ended up getting a minor on strength and conditioning and nutrition, and then I got a BA in Spanish also.
So what you're saying, all of your background prepared you for what you're doing now?
No, I actually, because I was working and I got a big push from the family here. So it says you have to get a degree, and I'm big into soccer. So my mother was like, you got to go to college. But I was like, if I was going to go to college, I was like, I got to play soccer. So that's what I joined Southern, and I played soccer in the team for 2 years, and then. I think I did 3 years there because I did 1 year in Gateway. Yeah, it was a good experience. I got a degree.
He went to visit me a lot at UConn.
Yes.
An honorary Husky.
He knows his campus.
But I went to school a little bit later in age. So by the time I was 22 when I was a freshman, going to Gateway to get credits transferred to Southern.
Right.
So I there into the school and then be able to play soccer for them. So that was a big.
Gotcha.
I'm really big into sports and everything like that.
Very nice. And clearly, things are popping off wine as I'm sitting here. Wow, didn't expect that. I will. And there goes the other one. Can't plan that. They're all going.
Funny.
What are you guys putting in these wines?
It doesn't want to stay in the. It doesn't want to stay. In
No, they're all. You can hear them popping and just like popping in the air. I mean,
That's so.
I didn't expect a comedy hour, but I guess we can do that too. Let's pivot a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about the vineyard. Now, Margaret, you've mentioned a couple of times, and Marcelo, you have as well. Your family is all about this place. How did the vineyard come to be, and whose idea was it to say, let's put a vineyard right smack in the middle of Connecticut?
So, so my family searched for many years for the right property, something that would work for them. The founder of the company is my father, Rich, and his brother, Al, and also Rich is my dad, and my mother, Brenda. So the three of them got together and combined their heads and said, this is something that we really want to do in our retirement. Well, my dad's retired now already, and so is my Uncle Al. And they never thought how much work it would be in the retirement, I think. So it's pretty involved. I think they wanted to, think it was like going to be a hobby more. But they say, if you build it, they'll come. So we built it, and people come. So it's definitely busy, but we purchased the property, my family, back in 1997 in sole pursuit to do this.
Right.
The land used to be a dairy farm and horse farm, and but it was barren land. They just had animals, on the property, but we had to start everything from scratch. There was no buildings. There was nothing here. There was no electricity.
Wow.
We had big trenches to get electricity into this place, pipe everything in. It was a lot of work. So my parents started the process, and they said, there's no way we could open until we get the girls through college. So once we, it's just myself and my sister, Natalie Willis. She's actually a teacher, and the two of us had to get through college. And then once that happened, then we opened the winery. So
very nice. Now, one of the stories that you shared with me about when you selected the land and where you ended up was about the terroir that was available to you. Can you talk a little bit about that, and what makes your specific plot of land an ideal place for you to really grow wine grapes?
We have a great area, and I was able to take some great soil chemistry classes at UConn. I think my professor just retired, actually, Christian Schultz. He just retired, I heard. He was from Argentina. He was a great soil science professor, and I would bring core samples actually from here up to UConn when I came home, and we analyzed it, and it was like, we have a really rocky kind of clay loam soil here, lots of rocks, but it also has those other aggregates in the soil that really keep, the water close to the roots, but it drains well. So he's like, oh, this is great, great for growing grapes and stuff like that. So, before obviously we even purchased the property, we got soil tests done and made sure that it was fertile, and hence having horses and cows here too definitely helps.
That didn't hurt. Yeah, no, absolutely. So folks, if you're just joining us, I know a couple people just made it in. We're talking with Margaret Ruggiero Mena and Marcelo Mena. They're the owners of Paradise Hills Vineyards in Wallingford. We are going to get to our tasting in just a minute. So if you're interested in wondering which wines to start with, we're going to be starting with the Chardonnay tonight. So if you're looking to open a bottle of wine and get started to join us, feel free to do that. We're just getting to know them a little bit, and then we'll get into the tasting. So bear with us on that. Now, moving a little bit further into my line of questioning for you tonight. What I would like to kind of find out, there's a lot of people, I see folks that are logged in from different places. I know we've got some in Philadelphia, we've got some in California. So people are logging in from different places here tonight. So if you had to paint an experience for them, when somebody walks into Paradise Hills, what would they experience? What would they see? What makes you different too and unique from compared to the rest of the Connecticut Wine Trail?
I'd say the family aspect, you know, because you're gonna meet my dad, you're gonna meet my husband. It's some wineries are on a corporate level style. Ours is family, so you're gonna see my kids running around, probably chasing some chickens outside that we have.
There's the wildlife piece I wanted to come back to. Hit it for me.
But it's definitely, we just welcome you into our house. Like, this is where we live. I live up the hill here. So it's not like I drive somewhere else to leave the property. This is our home, and we welcome everybody to come and enjoy. So.
No, that's great. And one of the things that you mentioned to me as well that I think is great for folks to kind of hear. Talk us through a tasting experience. If we were to walk into your specific vineyard, you explain that this is a very unique experience and you need to have time to do it.
Right. Yes. So pre-COVID, you know, we were doing wine tastings, and our wine tastings are very detailed, very educational, but unfortunately right now we can't do it. But we are doing wine flights that people are really enjoying, so they could like pre-select 4 wines that they would like off our menu. But pre-COVID, you would come up to the bar and we give you these beautiful goblet glasses. We have white wine glasses and then red wine glasses that we would serve you in different glasses throughout your tasting flight that you would experience here. And you would get like so much info about us, the history, the winemaking, and any questions we would be able to answer for the public. We just felt that this is just a really unique experience to be able to educate customers and visitors when they're coming into our facility.
Oh, that's awesome. And you know, having lived in Connecticut now for a good chunk of time as well, having hit many, and yours in particular as well, I can say you definitely get different experiences. And one of those things that makes that positive experience is what you're talking about, right? You walk in, you hear all about what the wine is, what it takes to make those things. And I think that adds some serious value when you talk about, let's put it this way, Connecticut vineyards are an experience, right? They're not just about wine, it's an experience, and you guys are trying to create that. It sounds awesome.
We have owners from California vineyards before. He's been here for the summer, and he was amazed how different is compared to customers, how the vineyards run in California versus Connecticut. He was like, I wish I have a pack house like you guys have, because it's more tourism over there.
Mm-hmm.
There's more like face-to-face, more, I don't know, it's more skin connection with people, and because people want to find out who you are, and you also want to find out who's the people buying your product.
Exactly.
And at the end of the day, for us winemaker, it's just, I want you to just take my wine and finish it. And that's our goal, right? I want you to crack the bottle open and be able to finish it.
Twist my arm, Marcelo. Twist it.
And then that's our main goal, because we put a lot of passion behind our product, behind everything we make here. Like I said, we have so many wines that because there's so much demand and people trying to please everybody. But yes, our main goal is for people to get our product, and kind of as you drink and get our experience and all the hard work behind it is the main goal.
And the louder it gets, the more Italian it feels, right?
Yes, it's more like an art, you know?
Yeah, we got Italians and Latins, you know. It's
Good. Very nice. So you've hit the nail on the head. Let's transition now. Let's head into the wine. Let's get to know a little bit more about your wine. So take us through the winemaking process, Marcelo, that you implement. I'm not sure everybody here, you know, is familiar with the proper tasting. So let's get a little bit of that. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to give you a little bit of a summary of what we have here. Besides the vineyards, we grow hybrids and we grow some viniferas, which is Chardonnay is a Venus vinifera. That's a Chardonnay clone, which is grafted to roots that are sustainable for this climate. Yep. So it's a straight Chardonnay grape. it would be impossible to grow like Cabernet or Merlot. The rest of the grapes we grow is Vignoles, Vino Blanc, Seyval Blanc, Chamberson, which is a red. We grow Lendat Nord, Cayuga, and Tremenet, and also the Chardonnay. So those are all the grapes we grow. We got about 8 acres planted, and everything's hand pruned. Everything is a lot of hand on the vine. So the winemaking process, this is we have all the tanks here. I wish I could move the computer camera so I can show everybody. But
This is one of our tank rooms.
grapes get to the loading dock and they get crushed.
Process here.
They get crushed here. White grapes, they get pressed on that same day, directly into a tank, and then your recipes, all your stuff that you need to add to it to make them really good. And the red grape, we crush them. We have special fermenting tanks outside. So for the red grape, it's a little bit different because you crush, but you don't press that day. So you let the grape ferment it with skins, so you can extract all the color to get these nice, beautiful ruby colors on the red grape. We have a very good technology here. We have 2 beautiful tanks, which they do pump overs. And a pump over is, as the grape is fermenting inside the tank, kind of the skin separates from the juice. So it kind of sits on top of the whole must is when everything's together. So it separates, the juice sits on the bottom and the skin flows on top. But you periodically,
Yep.
you have to come and pump it over. So you have to wet the hat of call it a hat, what sits, all the skin that
The
sits on top.
skins, they kind of rise up to the top
Sure.
of the tank.
So what you do is you pump the wine under it, over the top, and you keep making this process. It's a pump over. So the skin is always in contact with the juice.
Wow.
This is why you control the temperature better, and
You get a better and quality product.
then you get more of tannins and everything that you can extract from the skin. We also use some product that helps us that process too. We use a lot of culture yeast. We don't do anything with natural fermentation because it's a little bit different here because we our source grapes from different countries too. So you're bringing yeast from everywhere. So you never can control what's going to ferment. So by bringing fermenting yeast, let's see if I have one here, I can show you. So they come in these packets. And this
Okay.
is yeast. So what do? They have these laboratories and they create this wine yeast specific for different types of grapes. So if you're looking for different flavors, so you kind of have to work it out what you're trying to achieve on the winemaking. So if you want a crisp Chardonnay with a lot of fruit, tropical fruit, you look for that, what they recommend in the laboratories and what type of yeast you can use. You can't use red yeast for white wine and vice versa. So you have to use a specific yeast for the type of variety that you're using. So throughout the process here, all these tanks, the aging, we do a lot of stainless steel aging. We have one wine that sits on barrels, which is a Cabernet blend that I was talking to you earlier, which is called Maestro. The rest of the wine, everything's fermented. All the processes here. We do racking. The racking is when we transfer wines from tank to tank. We do a lot of the filtering here. We do a stabilization. It's a year process.
Sounds like it.
It takes about 90 days to complete one wine, and then the aging process starts.
Wow.
So during the aging process, especially on the reds, we use a lot of infusion with wood. So we'll throw oak into the tank, kind of like a big tea bag sitting on the tank. So it sits there, and then we can monitor better the oak flavors that we want to infuse into the wine, which is a different style, which makes the wine more
Crisp.
more fruity in that perspective. So it's I know we have only an hour. I can go on all night talking about winemaking, but yes. So crush, press, aging in the tank, filtering, stabilization,
bottling,
and then it goes to the bottling line downstairs, and then it does a bottle age, which is another aging
process that we do.
And 90 days. So clearly you never stop.
In 90 days, yeah. So throughout the winter, basically right now we're filtering wines. You can hear a little bit in the back. That's a cooling system that we have. So we have to chill this wine to 32 degrees especially all the wines, so we can drop some of the acidity out, some of the crystals. So especially when you put your white wine into your fridge, you don't want things dropping off the wine. That might freak out people. So a lot of other wineries do a heat stabilization. We don't do that. Most people do it because when they ship to different states for California wine, they have to do it because if it sits in the truck and it gets hot, you don't want the wine to be dropping stuff on the bottle after it's
Makes sense.
complete. So they do heat stabilization. We do only cold stabilization, and that's pretty much.
You're a wealth of knowledge. You got a lot of stuff there.
A lot of reading, man. A lot of books. You're always learning something new, and every year, even though we have recipes, every year is different. You always have to improvise, and this,
we're always looking to get better at our process.
That's true. You're always improving, bringing something in. So a few years ago, we got this ozone machine that creates ozone, and that helps sterilize our tanks. And that's how we rinse our tank, clean everything. So we're really clean as far as making wine. So we're now one of the few wineries that have ozone systems here. And most people don't like it because it's if you work with it too much, it's kind of can harm you. But you only need so much, and it mixes with the water, and then that's why you need to keep everything clean.
Just have to do it safely.
Because wine is always living. There's no bacteria living in wine. It's the only drink, I want to say, that you'll see on the market that is alive. There's so many bacteria in it, and there's tons. And to name them is some weird names.
Sure.
Wine changes characteristic with temperature, with agitation. If you shake the wine, it will taste different. So it's always something that's living. That's the beauty about wine. Compared to spirits. Spirits, you get flavor, but everything's dead there. I don't know too much about beers. Beers is kind of like that. Unfiltered beers, you can still have some yeast floating in the beers. And now they're getting close to a wine. Because beers before used to be more simple, 99% water. It's a little bit different. And there's so much compounds in wine. We have tannins, we have acidity, and everything has to be balanced. pH. I mean, it's big. It's a big process.
It definitely sounds like that. But let's shift gears because I'm sure it would shock to hear anyone that we've got Huskies on the line, and Huskies like alcohol for some reason. As an alum myself, I'm shocked to hear this. I'm sure it's shocking to you. So let's make our way into the tasting aspect. Walk us through, as if we've never done a tasting, because there may be somebody with us tonight that hasn't. What should we know? What should we be experiencing? Should we just take a sip, or how do we make this work?
So tasting is not much different when you go taste something to eat, right? Everything goes by the eye first, right? This is why I believe that if something looks good, you're gonna smell it, and if it smells good, you're gonna taste it, and if it tastes good, you're gonna swallow, right? That's just steps. But in the beginning, if the wine doesn't taste good, it looks if it looks good, it looks cloudy, that just gives you the right? But then if you smell it and it doesn't smell right, you don't want to drink it. So every single step that I just mentioned, they have to be on point, right? So what I like to do, especially in wine tastings, I like to put a white paper behind it so you can admire the color first. So I don't know if you can see.
That looks great, yeah.
A Chardonnay.
Has a golden.
We like to do this with our customers too. I don't know if I can put it in the camera. with a white background, you can.
There you go.
Perfect.
You can admire more of the coloring. We have a nice gold color here, which I really like for Chardonnay. And
So we're starting with Chardonnay, so make sure that folks, if you're pouring your wine, start with your Chardonnay.
I pour mine because I like to let it breathe, get oxygen into the glass, and that releases more of the aromas. It's kind of like when you go away for vacation, you come back to your house, you have that enclosed smell to it. You usually open all the windows, you want to get air into it to freshen it up. This is the same thing. When you pop a bottle of wine, you gotta let it breathe so you can get the full experience of the aromas and the flavors.
Okay.
This is one of the techniques wine tasting. See, winemakers, we don't do much of a tastings because this is wine appreciation, and we do a lot of this is sommelier stuff, and we do a lot of winemaking. So we don't really get along because they have other different types of dictations in wine. But this is one trick that I learned, that you can actually taste the aromas of the wine by
Okay.
doing this. So if you put your glass at 45 degrees and you breathe through it, but at the same time, I want you to breathe through your mouth as you breathe through your nose. And you're going to feel the flavors on your palate. So if you take a nice, it should be have a little bit of food flavors right on your palate as you
Right.
breathe.
Right.
This is a technique that you develop more as you drink more wine.
Sure.
I don't know if you want to add something about on the nose. So that's a good technique. And then this wine has a lot of the fruit flavors. It's really fruity.
And should we stir? Should we give it a stir?
Definitely. Like start
So I want you to pick-
smelling. I'm smelling because,
That's your vice right now.
And then
I can smell, not taste right now because I got baby boy number 3
There
right
you go.
here. So.
the one thing of wine tasting is you're trying to simulate
Smells.
the aromas, the aromas and that you pick from the wine with fruits or
Right.
fruits to eat, right? The simulation. You can't really. Everybody can smell something different.
Sure.
What I tell you is what it is, or
Right.
what my description is what it is.
Right.
I'm picking a lot of pineapple here on just the nose. And for the taste, we're gonna focus on acidity, which you're gonna taste on this side of your mouth, inside. The acidity goes right here. On the tongue,
Gives you like a pucker teeth,
on the top of the tongue, you're gonna taste all the fruit flavors, and on the front, around your teeth, and under your lips, you're gonna taste all the tannins on the wine, which is the bitterness. And on the back and the throat, you can taste the alcohol and the finish.
Hmm.
Right?
All right.
Go ahead and take a sip if you guys did already.
You want to get it all around your mouth, all the different areas, so you could really savor the flavor and get that full experience in the whole oral mouth area.
So as you breathe a little bit, you can take a little more oxygen in your mouth. You kind of want to do like a
Swirl.
wash. So the flavors get everywhere.
Like you got mouthwash, right? Like you're getting everything in your mouth with mouthwash. Taking everything clean. Same thing. You want it all to be wine covered.
So we got a butterscotch flavor. You can feel the creaminess in your tongue.
Absolutely.
You got a little bit of a mild acidity on the side. And you can taste the acidity right here. And the
That's
taste
mild.
is really soft. We got a nice vanilla flavor too. That's come from the oaking. We do a little oak chips on this. The style that I want this wine to be is more on the fruit. Concentrate on the fruit, more like a French style, not too much of California. California tends to be more oaky and more power on the oak flavors. This is more fruit. I like my Chardonnay a little more raw.
And it's it's done in stainless.
Yes.
So.
Okay. And Margaret, what would be a good couple of things that if we wanted to pair some foods with? What would be good to go along with the Chardonnay?
It's one of my favorites, I do have to say.
That's the deep breath.
This one I will be drinking a lot of in the summertime. I feel like I'm a very seasonal wine drinker. Winters I like to enjoy my reds, but come when spring and summer hit, I love the Chardonnays, Sauv Blancs, all that stuff. But really, like, I love pairing that with like some fresh fruit. Maybe even like a little bit of like honey with like a goat cheese would go great with it. But just very simple. I even throw some fresh fruit in my wine in the summertime, but it's just really whatever. You can't go wrong with pairing foods with wines. My husband, we were just talking about this earlier before we got on, because like everyone could experience different flavors, but I really enjoy it with some like fresh fruit. This Chardonnay is very unique, so I do like to not mess with it too much and not overpower it in any way, because it's also a great sipping wine that you could just sit and drink. So,
seems that way, and you can tell the creaminess will work well with that too.
Yeah, you want it chilled.
You have to drink it cold. because room temperature will taste so much different.
Yeah.
That,
It will taste more the acidity of room temperature. I will pair this wine with seafood, man. Oysters, clams, raw. That would be my, like sitting outside in the summer with some nice clams.
this is Connecticut. I'm sure we could find some.
And then have, woof, or like a lobster roll.
Again, you're naming all these things that have like this creaminess to it, like the goat cheese. I'm hearing a pattern, the goat cheese, the seafood, like you're talking about a lobster. I mean, all these types of things have that creamy texture.
Sky's the limit when you want to pair things. I mean, you can. There's people that might not like seafood and more into like white meats. Yes, this is a great wine for that. Or a salad, like
Yeah, even like a fresh salad with a
Yeah.
little, with a nice chilled glass of this Chardonnay.
I think most of us, because of the quarantine that most of us have been doing, probably could use a salad or two. So this is a good thing to kind of meet in the middle with, right? So
Yes.
I can get behind that. So let's talk about wine number 2.
Number 2, we have Vino Bianco del Paradiso,
So that means the
white wine from paradise.
white wine from paradise.
So the Chardonnay, the first one we taste, I forgot to say, it was it's all grown here. The grapes,
It's estate grown.
say grown. Also the Vino Bianco, we have the Vidal grapes and Big Nose grape and Vidal. So blend them too.
It's also
And,
Connecticut.
and a little Cayuga, and those are the grapes that we grow here.
I could taste the Vignol when I tried it earlier. I could taste that coming right through.
So this one right here, it's a little more fruity. It tastes a little sweet on the nose.
Has a little bit of residual sugar too.
Taking a look at my colors too, just making sure the differences here.
You can have little notes of straw notes, maybe a little bit of honey on the nose.
Definitely got the honey, absolutely.
This wine is about 2% residual sugar, so it's off dry, it's not semi-sweet, and this is one of the big seller here with the Cayuga also.
Very popular.
Especially in the summer, 90 degrees out, this thing goes off the shelf like.
I was going to say, on a warm, hot day, this would be going down a little too easily, and you'd get your wish about us finishing that bottle pretty quickly.
It's too dangerous because it's 12%.
That too. That's good to know.
But like I said, like us winemakers, that's my how can I say? That's what I'm looking forward for people when they open a bottle of wine of mine.
It's nice to see the reaction,
The reaction of people, or like the reward. I would say
Yes.
the reward for me is for you to finish the wine I made,
Right.
because there's a lot of wineries or wines up there, and I don't want to call wines bad. There's no such a bad thing about wines. That's if somebody says this wine is bad, it gets me really upset when I hear that, because there's so much. People have no idea how much work is behind wine. There's so much passion. There's so much. And it's like an art, You can just like a picture, right? An artist. But we're not people to judge. Like I can't say this wine is bad, because some other people might say that this is the best thing in the world.
It's like personal,
It's an art.
personal preference.
So I don't tend to say this wine is bad, or like, to me, all wines are good.
Yeah, it's completely subjective, absolutely. Depending on who you are and what your preferences are, you're going to go to different things.
I can judge the quality, okay? But like my reward is for you to drink, taste, and have that smile, and something that you can sip on with your friends, and
Enjoy.
and make your mom and
Make
memories,
Yeah.
your time better. And this wine, as we sip, the acidity is a little bit lower than the Chardonnay. You're not gonna taste it as much because of the sugar kind of overpowers the acidity, kind of lowers it down a little bit.
Yep, I can picture that summer day right now, and that, to your point, dangerous. Yeah,
Yeah, and
that's the word. That's the word that keeps coming to mind. And you said it before I could get there, but that's it.
And these both wines that we just had,
They're very different.
they're very different. And this one has more of the honey flavor, definitely. Wow. I can pick some guava.
But it's a really nice blend. So
Yes.
this one's a blend, and the first one was just straight Chardonnay. So
The
you
good
can
thing
kind of
about-
taste the differences between the two.
Well, we picked these grapes because Vinos, we have a Vino late harvest here at Paradiso that we sell. And Vidal Blanc, these two grapes are the grapes for ice wine, the grapes for like sweet wines. So we didn't want to make a sweet wine unless we're making a late harvest or an ice wine, but we want to make something something like off dry that you can still taste the acidity, but fruity, you know what I'm saying? And then the pairing for this, I mean, something sweet.
We have some.
We have a few things here.
We have some little chocolate covered figs.
Yes.
That would go really good with that. That we picked up. We didn't open.
We didn't open it yet.
But something a little on the sweeter side would complement this wine amazingly. If you have a little chocolate, milk chocolate, dark chocolate,
Very nice.
Oh,
it would really go really nicely together with.
Oh, see, I will drink this with a little piece of flan. Spanish. But we have chocolate figs.
Little figs. Sure, thank you.
Very nice. Very nice. Now, you before we transition into the reds that we have tonight, Marcelo, you and I were chatting just before we went live with everybody today, and we were talking about your favorite wines to work with, and you mentioned that blends are a big thing for you. So, talk to us a little bit about what that is, and while our friends open up their first bottle of red here, which is going to be the Marquette.
Yes, I like to work with all the red grapes, but my favorite one is Cabernet. That's the king. Cabernet is king, Merlot is queen, right? To me. But there's some amazing wines like we were talking about Malbecs and Carmenères, and there's so many Pinot Noirs. Pinot Noirs are getting big now in the United States,
Yeah,
especially from Oregon. They're making them like big and bulky. I like bulky red wines. Obviously here in Connecticut, you can't really grow that type of popular grapes, Vinus vinifera, which are.
the growing season's not long enough.
So we grow, and there's people that try, but you might go to a winery that has some Merlot in Connecticut that grows on the property, and you'll find it to be a little more watered down, more light. So
Less body.
less body, and it's so much work. It's different on the pruning, taking care of that vine is way more challenging than having a hybrid. The hybrids are a little bit different. You can't really compare them with any other grape because it's unique, right? For example, this Marquette. The Marquette this is an American grape. This is a grandson of Pinot Noir.
Okay.
Right, so this is a genetic blend. There's like about 5 different vines in here. And Michigan, I think Michigan State.
Yes, Michigan.
Michigan State is the one that developed this grape. What they're trying to do is something sustainable for this weather, this climate. This is getting big in Connecticut. We don't grow this. We have a farmer in Connecticut that grows it for us. There's about 5 acres, and he just grows everything for us. He sells us Petit Perle, Marquette, and Fontenay Blanc. So there's just a local farmer that works with us, and this has nice characteristics. This wine is really earthy. You got to know that Connecticut wines on the nose are more into the vegetable nose, more like green peppers, more like earth. They're fruity on the taste, but on the nose they're so much different. This definitely the colors are amazing on grape. And I have some California people saying that they wish to have our color or our acidity. We have soil. Our soil gives us so much acidity, but we don't get enough sugar like California does. California has so much sugar and the acidity is really low. So that's the beauty of it, because you get California grape, Connecticut grape, you can blend, and high acidity, high sugars, you can make perfect wine. Again, if you put this against a white, it's really, really dark. I'll say this wine is a medium body.
Okay.
Because it's a little bit short in your mouth. Even though it's 12%. And when I say it's short, is after you drink it, kind of like the flavor stays there, but they don't stay there as long as like a Cabernet. You know, when you drink Cabernet, it stays the flavor. You can still take the vanilla and all that and still in your mouth. This is kind of like it's quicker.
Okay.
You're
So-
also going to see the legs coming down as you're swirling your glass.
Yes.
So that's another thing to observe.
Yeah, when the wine has legs, they said that's a,
It's a
some people might say, somebody will say it's about body. This is definitely an air pressure thing with alcohol. So it has nothing to do with the body of the wine. It's more of it's a reaction when the alcohol runs through the oxygen. It's a big argument about body on the legs and whatnot, but I guess some people kind of say they can tell. People say they can tell when the wine has so many legs, and the thicker the wine is going to be more full body. But right here you can experience some thick legs and a lot of legs, and the wine is medium body. So just it's different.
someone says, should we decant the reds before?
Oh, definitely.
Yes,
The more
definitely decant the reds.
this is my my religious thing to do. Open the wine before you cook dinner, right? Put it in the decanter. Open the wine, put it in the decanter. Cook your dinner. By the time you sit down at the table, the wine is ready to drink. You know what I'm saying? So you got to work ahead. So I had all my wines open, and that's what I like the wine to breathe. Red needs more oxygen.
Yeah, it needs a longer time too to open, especially
Sure.
the reds versus the whites.
Sure.
On the nose here, I can pick a lot of. I was talking to Margaret.
Blackberry.
Blackberries.
I say blackberries, and I got a lot of cherry as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, black cherry also.
Incorporating fruit, like fresh fruit, is great, so.
You're right, though. This is definitely open. I poured all these in advance so that I didn't have to worry about the wine cork, and it's completely changed from the first time when I poured them.
The tannins on this wine are really soft. There's one thing about Eastern grape that there's a chemical reaction through the fermentation that for some reason Connecticut grape doesn't really hold much as the tannins on the wine. So you have to add more tannins to the fermentation. This is another thing that you have that you get through experience. The tannins you don't feel as much. It's really soft tannins. The acidity is mild acidity. It's really smoky. This wine, earthy.
Yeah.
Some leather. Some people might taste some tobacco in it, which is really characteristic for Connecticut wine.
Sure.
People
Sure.
tends to taste a lot of leather and tobacco, which is nothing bad. I mean, they're just flavors. If you ever get a sommelier kick, they give you all these flavors and aromas.
Just got one from Uncle. My Uncle Al, he gave us a sommelier tasting, smell kit. That's what it is.
Yep.
I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I've always wanted one of these.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
you could smell, you should have brought that down.
Different herbs and spices trigger different reactions
they're
when you
really
when
cool.
you
It
mix the
makes it
wine.
great.
Yeah.
See, since it's a grandson of a Pinot Noir, you can assimilate it kind of like a Pinot Noir, like a light Pinot Noir. They're different though; they don't taste the same. But as far as structure and style,
Sure.
they're pretty much on the same level. Right?
So as we start thinking about hitting our last wine for the evening, folks, if there's any questions, I see that a couple have come through already. Feel free to throw those into the Q&A piece. We're going to tackle one real quick. We
know Jamie.
Oh, there you go. So if there's questions, feel free to throw that in there. We'll try to get to as many as we can. We'll stick around a little bit past the 7:30 mark because we are creeping up on that. So feel free to stick around with us if you've got any questions. And until Margaret and Marcelo need to get going, or if Margaret goes into labor, we'll then make a decision there. But we'll get to as many questions as we can. But one of the questions that did come in, and if you haven't already opened that fourth bottle, the Merlot, please make sure that you've done that at this point. Question came in, why did you choose these wines for tonight's tasting? And I know we talked a little bit about this prior to going live as well. So if you want to let folks know.
What we wanted to do is give you a little bit more of
variety
of different varieties and push some of the local stuff, right? Marquette's grown in Connecticut. The Vigno's Vidal blend grown in Connecticut. Chardonnay grown in Connecticut. And two, we had to put one of the
big Boulder Reds.
Boulder Red because you gotta please, like I said, you gotta please everybody. Because even though people buy us, like, where's the heavier wine? I wish it would have been my Maestro or something but this is what we had in the stock too at the moment. It says, and it was just released, so we're gonna just push the Merlot. It's a nice delicate wine.
Marcelo, before you get into the Merlot, one question did come in, and I know we touched on it just a little bit, but if you can talk a little bit specifically about things that you would serve with the Marquette. I know we touched a little bit with fruits, really a great thing, but what else would you recommend?
Marquette, definitely some pasta.
That's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say like a bolognese pasta dish, or maybe like what's the one that you like with the red sauce with like seafood too?
So Marquette's like, let me do a compare with coffees, because if you drink your coffee black, you'll like Marquette because you're looking for the acidity, right? So if you drink your coffee with cream and other stuff, people with cream and a little bit more sugar, you'll tend to like more of the bulky wines, like Cabernet or Merlot. So,
but not necessarily always.
I mean, in comparison of the wines. So when you have a wine that's high in acidity, you usually look for something that's sweet that kind of balances that out. So this wine, you can have something sweet with this wine. With the Marquette. Because the acidity is a little higher.
I think it would go great with pasta.
But with pasta.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds like a plan. I may have to go make some pasta.
Pork, definitely. Pork.
Yeah, pork.
Oh yeah.
Like a stuffed pork with like fennel and.
But if you like I said, if you like the coffee black, you're gonna love Marquette more of, and you're gonna get more into drinking Connecticut Reds. We have a beautiful Lenda Nord that we grow here. We got St. Croix. Those are the reds that we grow.
Gotcha. And I see a couple other questions coming in right now, so we'll get to that in just a little bit. So Ellen, I see your question out there. I'll get to you in just a moment, so just bear with us. Marcelo, if you want to take us on to the Merlot, because we are coming up on the half an hour mark, so just to make sure that folks that do need to go get a chance to experience and hear what you have to say about that, and then we'll answer some questions.
So the Merlot is a little more bulky, it's a little more long. You'll taste more flavors in the mouth. And typical Merlot, a lot of vanilla flavors. Really, really, really fruity on the nose. Now the color, you can see if you compare, it's a little more nice, darker ruby color.
Get brown sugar, that type of concept in there.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, whatever you guys can put there. Tell me what you guys. If I want to hear people saying, "What are you guys smelling out there?" People have sensitive noses and they can.
Yeah. Throw that in the chat, folks. If you are tasting something, let Marcelo know what you're.
Missing there. I can pick up definitely cherry, blackberry on the nose. Also a little bit of oaky flavors here. We have. This is a stainless steel oak. Stainless steel aged and infused with staves. And what we use here is French staves.
Staves are like slabs of wood. So it's the piece of the barrel. So it's kind of like the reverse process. Yeah. So it's like inserting a barrel into the tank.
Then basically the wine pulls from the wood, right?
Yeah.
Those are the wood slats, that come down on the barrel.
Getting heavy on the cherry from the chat. So
yes.
So before we transition a little bit, Margaret, what would you pair with this one?
With this one? This is the Marquette, right?
No,
this is the Merlot now.
All right, I just stepped away. I just wanted to double check.
Some nice prosciutto.
See what happens. See what happens when you're not drinking along with us. I mean, this is off, right?
Definitely dark meats. So nice prosciutto. Dark meats, steak. This is kind of like a Cabernet. If you like more plum, you're gonna tend to go more to Merlot. If you like more of the strawberry flavor, more fruity, you go more to Cabernet. I was saying, Cabernet King, this is the Queen. Both of them, this is the most popular, and I guess it's the most planted grape in the world. I think it's over 70,000 acres planted in the world.
Wow.
So, and don't quote me for that because it might be more or less. But
we're gonna hold you to it, so it's okay.
Definitely, it's one of the most popular. And obviously the Bordeaux that come from France and
Yes.
Bordeaux style, and they're great for blending. I like blending Cabernet Merlot. I like blending them too.
What's your favorite style of wine, Marcelo,
Um,
to work with? If you had to pick one, what's your favorite?
It's hard. It's like asking what's your favorite kid.
I know, right? Well, we all have them.
my maestro. I like Cabernet, but I like to experiment with Cabernet and blend it, right? So I like blending Cabernet with Merlot. I'm drinking a lot of Petit Syrah now lately. And I love Petit Syrah. I like the feeling and the tannins. Those are high in tannins. This one has some nice tannins. It's
Sure.
really elegant. You can feel it in the front of your mouth. It's really sticky, really dry. Petit Syrah, Petit Bordeaux, Cabernet.
Okay.
I like Malbecs from Argentina, Carmener from Chile. I mean, whatever you put out there, I pretty much drink. But I like the style of Cabernet, bulky red wines. Not too much on the oak. I like oaking, but it needs to be balanced. Like I was telling you before, I like the style of the wine that I like. I like the fruit on the nose and the fruit throughout. You taste it also.
Through the finish.
Gotcha. And by the way, you have a cheerleader in the chat right now, in case you didn't see, making a bid for your maestro.
Yes, that's a different.
It's a very special wine. We just released it recently, so
Very nice.
unfortunately we couldn't include it.
Because it's a limited edition and
But
Timing wise.
it is very limited. So
I think every year I make about 30 cases of it, and it goes quick.
Oh, very nice. So as we kind of find ourselves up against the clock tonight, it seems like one of those things that we could talk wine. It sounds like for hours. We have 4 bottles of wine, so we clearly could get through it, right? So if you're going to talk wine, you have to have wine. And I think that's kind of like my feeling on it. But
wine is definitely more. They're all really easy to drink.
and our wines are meant to be consumed. Like, don't throw it on your shelf for like 10 years. You know, they're meant to be enjoyed now. So we don't use a lot of sulfites in our wines. So
Talk about sulfur levels a little bit.
we keep them on the lower end. People have some sulfite, sensitivities and stuff like that. So we keep that into consideration. And also, like, when we release the wine, it's ready. It's ready for you to be enjoying it, consuming it, enjoying it with friends and family. Not really like one of those wines to keep on, your wine rack for
Definitely like
10 plus years.
we have a limited edition Cabernet. We have a Cabernet, the Merlot, Maestro, Malbec. Probably those wines you can age for a few years. Maybe they get better. Some of them will get better in as age in the bottle. But the Eastern grape, like the hybrids, they're meant to drink quick. Because they don't have enough tannins, so they might give change throughout time. They might not taste as fresh. Might lose some of the fruit.
Sure.
Well, someone's talking about our President's Choice.
President's Choice just got released 2 weeks ago.
February on President's Day.
And it's been really popular. That's a secret family recipe.
Yep.
Okay.
It's a Bordeaux style blend. So Bordeaux, any grape.
Gotta come and visit.
Sounds like we all do. Absolutely. Well, I don't think there's any shortage of passion for what you both do, and obviously for wine. And it sounds like the amount of knowledge that you've just thrown upon us as well is just the tip of the iceberg, and you have much more to share. So I definitely would encourage you all, support a fellow Husky, get out there and make your way out to Wallingford. And for those of you that are tuning in from elsewhere, next time you're home, checking out UConn, coming to see what's changed and what's happened, it's not too far to head out to Wallingford and pop in and ask for Margaret, let her know you're a fellow Husky, you tuned in tonight. You'll get the goblet of wine in front of you if the COVID restrictions are lessened a little bit by then, and everybody can kind of move forward. But Margaret, one of the questions, I think when you got the board for us,
Yes.
somebody was asking about the flight experience, and if you want to talk a little bit about what that looks like.
So we have these beautiful flight boards that were made from our trees here on the property, cedar trees. And so this is like what you would experience, and you would come, get the menu.
Mm-hmm.
You could peruse that, see what kind of wine styles that you'd like to select from. All of our wine staff here is fabulous. They could help you out if you have any questions, but you could select whatever wine you'd like to try. If it's the Maestro, to our sparkling wines, to white wines and sweeter wines.
So you get about 2 ounces in each glass.
Yep.
So altogether, you get an 8 ounce. So it's like a glass of wine, basically. But you get to taste different flavors of what you're looking for. Some people come here and have no idea, and they want to try something new.
So
The fly is it's a good thing, because right now we can't do face to face.
Right.
COVID. So this is we'll put your fly, you pick your wines, and you can take the menu. And our menu has a description of the wines in the bottom.
And you can bring this right to your table.
Yep.
And then when you're done, you could just bring it right back up to the bar and choose if you'd like to do a wine by the glass or a wine by the bottle. So that's basically, you know, how it's looking when you come and visit right now. We do have seating inside available. Tables are on the smaller sides, you know, so we could accommodate like sizes 4 to 6. They're very spaced out. We're at 50% capacity right now. And we do also have outdoor seating with like some fun tabletop heaters that are available. You could rent the tabletop heaters. Seem to be quite popular, especially now that spring is around the corner. I think they're going to start popping up more again.
But as
I think you're right.
Better, we had a good turnout, even though throughout the pandemic, people just come here and they found their own spot. They're going between the vines. People spread out. So we have a big property. The property is 65 acres. Obviously, people don't go in the woods. We let people around the building, but
you could bring your own chairs, tables. We have seating.
People come down, picnic blankets, and then just lay. They buy a bottle of wine. They lay by the grapes and
enjoy the day.
Enjoy the day.
Yeah. Now, one quick question that came in the current situation, do you need a reservation? Some places are restricting to reservations. Is that the case?
No, we're first come, first serve. We don't take any reservations. So we're open 7 days a week.
There you go.
We don't close down unless it's like, you know.
It's funny you say that. You and I talked about this. When's the best time to visit?
You know, if you're looking for that wine experience, but right now we can't really give you that tasting experience. But like, I'd say Monday through Thursday are great days if you want to take a day off, head to the vineyard. You could get a very much more intimate experience with your wine selections, with our bar staff, versus coming on a Saturday or Sunday.
So basically, if you want to bring a date, I would recommend Monday through Thursday. If you want to come with a bunch of friends, talk and chat and drink some wine, definitely Friday and Saturday.
We have live music too.
Sunday is more like a family, I think. It's more like we got an adult crowd. Sundays we got live music, but it's definitely a place to come and relax and forget about all the crazy stuff that's going on in the world.
Or if you're retired, as Patricia let us know. So that's the way. That's the way to do it. Monday through Thursdays are perfect.
We're open to 8. So on most nights, Sundays we do close a little bit early. We try and have a family dinner on Sundays. We close at 6 on Sundays. So
nice. That's it. Perfect. Well, folks, we've kind of come up on the end of our time tonight, but like I said, this is the tip of the iceberg and for things that you can experience with Paradise Hill. So as things start to get better, as vaccine rollout continues, hopefully we'll be able to spend some more time with Margaret and Marcelo. If you get the chance, come on down and visit them. They'd love to see you. If you are in Connecticut, they do have that online ordering. So if you enjoyed what you had tonight, you can always add a couple more bottles to that, and Margaret's team will get that shipped out to you. But Margaret, Marcelo, thank you both so much for sharing so much information and for joining us. Any final thoughts before we let everybody go for the night?
It's just everybody, thank you for tuning in, and make sure you finish those wines. And,
I've got some work to do.
We'll be here.
Thank you so much for joining us. It was a pleasure.
Thank you both so much. Thank you all for joining us. Hopefully you had a great time tonight, and we hope to see you next time. And I just put this in the chat as well. This was recorded, so feel free to pass this along to your friends to encourage as well. You can order those same wines and have them do the same thing and walk through this experience as well. This recording will be uploaded to youtube.com/UConn alumni, so you'll be able to find that information there. But in the meantime, we'll see you all next time. If you're interested in our 1881 series, a little bit more information about that, we've got an On the Rocks, another virtual mixology class coming up in a few months. But in the next 2 weeks, we're doing a Why So Sour? Science of the Sour Beer episode coming up in just about 2 weeks. And then we're going to do a deeper dive into Houston-based Southern Yankee Beer Co., which is owned and operated by a Yukon Husky at the end of April, or should I say the beginning of April. So if you want to join in a couple of more conversations about alcohol, I mean, I'd be shocked again to hear that Huskies are doing that, but feel free to let us know. We'd love to see you at those, and we'll catch everybody next time. So thank you all.
Can't go wrong with alcohol.
Can't go wrong.
And the sad times and the happy times.
Salud.
That's it. Salute, everybody. Take care.
Cheers.
Take care.
Bye.